Hello YouTube, my name is Nero and today we have some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 playing a bit of domination here on the map Spire. This of course is one of the maps that we got with the Eclipse DLC. I'm playing on my PlayStation 4 account right around here with the KN44, but we're not going to be talking about either of those things today. We're not going to be talking about the Eclipse DLC, we're not going to be talking about the KN44, we're going to be talking about the thing that I've been anticipating for about 5 years now. This is something I'm very excited about. This is actually something that kind of surfaced last night, like late last night, maybe 4 or 5 in the morning my time, which is Eastern, which is when I became aware of it. Call of Duty 4 Remastered, coming with a special edition of the new Call of Duty game, which of course we learned yesterday was going to be Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which is going to be Infinity Ward's game that's coming out in 2016. Now, I'm going to show you guys this image right here, and I will say the image itself looks sketchy, right? Sketchy at best. It doesn't look to be that good in my opinion, but it looks to be Call of Duty Infinite Warfare Legacy Edition. Now, essentially what the Legacy Edition is going to be, according to this, is it's going to come with a copy of Call of Duty 4 Remastered, which is something that I think a lot of people have been wanting to see for a very, very long time. I have a number of questions I want to ask you guys, a number of questions I want to ask Call of Duty, Infinity Ward, and everybody, and just I hope you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy the video because I think it's going to be a good one. Number one, if COD4 Remastered is a thing, will it be sold separately, right? It makes sense to bundle it. You see this here, the Legacy Edition. It makes sense to bundle it together because they can't guarantee that people are going to want to buy a remake of a game that they probably didn't play. I mean, let's be honest, they probably didn't play the game. Most of the people watching this video probably never played COD 4. Yeah, I'm sure some of you guys that did, and congrats to you guys. You guys are longtime fans of the series. But the game came out nearly 10 years ago. Right? Almost 10 years ago. It came out on November 5th, 2007. We're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of that game. So I don't know if a lot of people would actually buy it. So if Infinity Ward were to bundle it with Infinite Warfare and sell that bundle there for $80 to $100 with including both games, I mean, GG easy, man. I mean, how easy could that be for them to make money? If they also sell it individually, they should definitely not sell it at full price, my own personal opinion, because that also seems to be a little bit silly, although I have another theory on the price of the game if they were to actually sell it separately. Number two, would this split up the player base? Right? Would actually this split up the player base? Like I mentioned, this is a game that came out almost 10 years ago. The 9-year anniversary is coming up on November 5th, and it makes sense, I suppose, for Infinity Ward to actually release it around the 9-year anniversary, because you don't want them to actually release it during the 10-year anniversary, which is why I predicted, they would actually release the game on, because that would be during Sledgehammer's cycle. If you release a game during the Sledgehammer game cycle with Advanced Warfare 2 or whatever it's going to be, right, that's going to snatch players from another Call of Duty developer. You don't want to do that. That just seems mean. Like, why would you do that? Like, a Call of Duty developer puts up a game, then another COD developer is like, oh yeah, this much anticipated remake people have been waiting for, we're going to put it out during your game's life cycle, not ours, so we can steal players from your game. Why would they do that? It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. It seems like a smarter decision, in my own personal opinion, for them to release it near the 9-year anniversary, rather than waiting until the next time they release their new game, which is going to be in, 2019, which would be like the 12-year anniversary. It seems to make no sense. Is this going to be splitting up the player base? Definitely, right? It's definitely going to split up the player base. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to play Infinite Warfare, a lot of people that are going to play Call of Duty 4 Remastered. There's also going to be a lot of people that just don't buy either of them and continue playing Black Ops 3. The player base is going to be fragmented as a result of this, but I definitely want to see how that's going to be playing out, because it definitely seems to be interesting to me. Number 3, what are they going to change? That is a big question for me. Are they going to change the campaign? Are they going to change the multiplayer? Is this game going to even have the multiplayer? Is it just going to be campaign? Will it have campaign? Will it be a multiplayer only thing? Are they going to be adding in new things in general? There are so many questions I have for Infinity Ward regarding Call of Duty 4 Remastered. If they do change around the game, are they going to be changing around some spawn points? Call of Duty 4 was notorious for spawn trapping. Now, I'm not talking like... You picture, how many of you guys played Demolition in some of the older Call of Duty games, like on like Black Ops 1, where like you're like literally shooting people as they spawn? Like, I remember specifically, I was guilty of this myself. I will not deny it. We would play Demolition in Black Ops 1. I'm thinking of Firing Range. I'm thinking of Jungle, Havana. Lots of these maps, right? Where literally I'm standing behind their spawn point and shooting their head as soon as they appear. Like, spawn trapping was definitely a big thing in that game, especially if you're playing Demolition. Call of Duty 4 was kind of like that, but different. Its domination maps were really set up for spawn trapping, as we called it back then. Although it sounds like a bad phrase. Sounds like you're, again, shooting people as they spawn, but you're really not. Picture taking A, picture taking B, then the opposing team is trapped at C. And now your team is basically just surrounding the C area, essentially, like everywhere around it, and they're basically shooting them as they come to any choke point on the map, basically. You're basically taking the opposing team and saying, okay, you guys are allocated to this map over here. That's as far as we're allowing you to go, and you can do that on a lot of Call of Duty 4 maps. So it's definitely a big deal. That's how domination was played in that game. And someone like me, who, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I've been as slow adapter in the new domination style where the spawns will flip a little bit easier. Like, if, for example, again, same scenario, you have A, you have B, but the opposing team has C, and the opposing team really isn't doing anything besides dying over there at C, the game will just occasionally throw them a bone and just be like, hey, you're going to spawn at A now. You know, they don't do that as much in COD 4. Will they change around the spawn system? Will they be changing around the camos and adding more? Will they be changing around the perks and how they work, perhaps? Are they going to be changing around some of the maps and the layouts of the maps to change around certain lines of sight or certain grenade spots? Will they be changing around the grenades as a whole? I have no idea. Are they going to change around the prestige system? I want to know about that. Are they going to be adding in more than just the original 10 prestiges with the special rewards you would get towards the end of your prestige, like a Golden Desert Eagle or anything like that? Will they change the weapons? This is a big deal for me. Will they change the weapons? Will they change the grenades? It would be a very different game if they changed around any of these things, because if they are changed, it is not going to be the same. I do not want them to buff up certain weapons and nerf certain weapons. I want the same COD 4 experience that I've always had. I'm somebody who has probably 50 days or so of playtime on Call of Duty 4's multiplayer as a whole. And so I would definitely like the game to remain the way it is. I realize that certain guns in that game are pretty weak. The Mini Uzi is weak. The Scorpion is weak. You could argue that the MP5, the P90, and the 74U are a little bit too powerful, but I would just argue that they're actually in line with the rest of the guns in the game, but the Uzi and the Scorpion are just a little bit weaker. I feel as though the light machine guns as a whole are just pretty weak in general. I feel as though a lot of the assault rifles are kind of weak, but then again, they could be good, you know, just in the right hands. I'm somebody who's like done every challenge on that game multiple times, so yeah, I wonder if they're going to change around any of the weapons. I don't know. This is a remaster, right? It's advertised, at least this leak so far has been advertised as Call of Duty 4 Remastered. Inherently, that means that they could be fixing things with this game. They could be remastering it, right? If someone goes back and remasters a movie like they did with some of the old Star Wars stuff, they tried to change around some of the old Star Wars stuff, right? They tried to change around the color in some scenes and the lighting and stuff like that. They tried to change around things when they remastered old movies. And if they're remastering this game and not just remaking it, then perhaps they're going to be adding things to the game and changing around things about it to try to make it a little bit better of a game. I don't know if they're going to do that. I'm definitely going to keep my mind open to it, though, because I don't want something as awesome as a COD 4 Remastered game to be spoiled for me, I suppose. If I'm one of those people that's like, they changed around this certain line of sight, it's not even the same map anymore. Maybe I don't want to be that guy, right? So I'm open to both possibilities, but I prefer the possibility where it's just the exact same game, but hopefully they fix certain things in the game as well. There's a lot of bugs in Call of Duty 4. Are they going to be fixing those things? For example, on map Ambush, to this day, as long as you have another player to help you, you can get out of the map on Ambush easily. And all basically you do is you have a teammate like crouching in a corner, look down at the ground, and you just basically jump on their head and jump out of the map. It's very simple. You can do that on... I guess that's the only map you can do that on. There's probably other maps you can get out of, but you know, there's a number of glitches on Call of Duty 4. Will they be fixing those particular glitches? Because I feel as though those glitches give the game... gosh, I'm such a fanboy, but I feel as though those glitches kind of add a little bit of flavor to the game, because like it's just well known what those glitches are and that when people do them and how to counter them and stuff like that. But I imagine they're going to be fixed. What of old school mode? If you guys know what old school mode is, it's a game mode in Call of Duty 4. Not a lot of people played it. A lot of people like myself though played it in private matches. It was Call of Duty's... shall we say, counter to Halo? When Call of Duty 4 came out, Halo was the biggest game. This was before Call of Duty became the biggest multiplayer game out there for people to play, right? And old school mode was essentially Call of Duty Halo. And you might say, like, well, what is Halo? I don't understand. You know, Call of Duty Halo, it's like that now. Everyone's jumping around and whatnot. No, legit, this is Call of Duty Halo. Everybody has double health. Everybody can jump twice as high. And instead of having weapons, you start off with just a normal weapon, like a Scorpion, I believe. And you have to pick up your weapons and your perks around the map. They're actually, I'll show you guys some footage right here. You guys, this is Call of Duty 4 old school mode, right? Tell me this is not just old school Halo, right? It's cool that they actually added this to the game. It wasn't very popular. Essentially, the only game mode for it was old school free-for-all. But it was a neat concept. It was a very neat idea. And in my own personal opinion, the best thing about Call of Duty 4 old school mode was the fact that you could actually do a ton of awesome glitches in private matches with old school mode by the very nature that you have twice as much health as you normally would, and by the fact that you could jump twice as high as you normally could. This allowed you to get on top of the map. This allowed you to get outside of the map. It allowed for some really fun game modes in private matches like Michael Myers and stuff like that. It was a core fundamental aspect of COD 4 in my opinion. And if they do remaster the game, I would be vastly disappointed if old school mode wasn't in there, because if anything, it's very fun for playing in private matches with your friends or open lobbies or things like that. It's so much fun. And the fourth and final question that I have for this game, I suppose, is when is it going to come out? Right, when is this going to come out? I've seen suggestions that perhaps they release Call of Duty 4 Remastered halfway through the Infinite Warfare life cycle about 6 months in, right? Picture it something along those lines. Infinite Warfare comes out in November. Perhaps Call of Duty 4 Remastered comes out in April or May, 6 months later. That would be interesting if they were to do that. It would be closer to the 10-year anniversary, but also cut into the DLC season. Now, going back to what I talked about earlier, coming full circle here, I talked about, are they going to sell this game for full price? They should bundle it together, make it $80 to $100. Like, that seems to make more sense. A full price game, I suppose, for Call of Duty 4 Remastered doesn't seem to make a lot of sense if you're just remastering an old game. I don't think people buy into that too much. What if they do this? What if they do make it so the game comes out 6 months into the Infinite Warfare life cycle, right around DLC season? But here's the thing. They don't make DLC for Infinite Warfare. Instead, they put out this game, which is an entirely new game, and they sell it for the same price as a season pass. That makes a lot of sense to me. Sell this game for $50 a few months into the Infinite Warfare lifecycle. Do not make DLC for Infinite Warfare, or maybe do if they want to. I don't care. But it seems to make sense if they were to do that. Instead of putting out DLC, just put out an entirely new game, or I suppose a remaster of an old game. That would be interesting, my own personal opinion. Lots of questions, guys. Not a lot of answers. The only answer that we actually have, and I'm going to show this on your screen right now because this is something that actually happened about an hour before I started recording this video, which this day has just been awful. I'm not going to get into that. Here we are. Look at this tweet right here. Call of Duty, the official Call of Duty Twitter. You see that blue check mark? Official Call of Duty Twitter has gone out of their way to find a tweet, I suppose, from December 5th of 2014, where a person says, "If I ever hear the words Call of Duty 4 PS4 Remaster, I will literally shit my pants with excitement." Call of Duty replies to that 2-year-old tweet with the shit emoji and the pants emoji. Yeah. What's interesting, though, looking at this, Call of Duty 4 PS4 Remaster. What if it's only for the PS4? I would cry infinite tears. I won't even know where to begin. I think that would be the last straw for Infinity Ward. I couldn't imagine. Oh, man. What if they were to actually do that? What if they were to actually finally release, after 9 years, the remastered version of COD4, the game that got so many people into the COD series, the game that launched Call of Duty onto the platform that is today and the platform that has been since Call of Duty 4 in 2007, and they only released it for a certain console as an exclusive game. Oh, my goodness. That would just be... I can't imagine. Now, I can see a world where perhaps it releases a month earlier for PlayStation 4 because they have the exclusivity deal. I don't know if that would be the case, but it's entirely possible. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it on that note. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please drop me a rating. It helps the video grow, and it helps my channel grow as well. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on the idea of a Call of Duty 4 Remastered. I am so excited for it, and this is why. Like I mentioned earlier, I have about 50 days total of playtime in Call of Duty 4 over all my years going back and playing that game, right? I feel as though if they were to remaster that game, I would be your sensei. I would teach all of you guys everything about that game. I would rebrand my channel as NerosCinema, and I would be the ultimate tips and tricks master of that game because I know literally everything that there is to know about Call of Duty 4, from where every single grenade spot is, from how every single weapon performs, what weapons use on certain maps, what are great lines of sight, how to run every single gun in the game, how the perks work, and how they interact with each other. I can tell you every single glitch in the multiplayer. I can tell you every single thing to do in old school mode. Like, I'm tooting my own horn here a lot. I get that, but I literally know everything there is to know about Call of Duty 4. It was a borderline addiction for me for a very long time. So if that game were to come out, I would make a lot of awesome videos, and I think everybody would have a lot of fun with that game as a result. And it'd be so much fun. I'm so excited for this, man. Call of Duty 4 Remastered. Don't you do this to me, Treyarch. I'm telling you. If they're making a remastered COD 4 and it does well, there better be a remastered World at War. Then they just go down the line. Who remembers the video I made a long time ago? Oh, we're going old school here, guys. I made a video about the prediction I made just several years ago about remastered Call of Duty, right? Because the idea of remastered Call of Duty always seems to pop up. And I made the prediction, and I guess I'm off with the years, but it's still the same kind of idea, and it seems to make the most sense. Every single year, they could release this remake, essentially, halfway through each game's life cycle. And then it would just continuously go and go and go. By the time they start running out of remakes ideas, they could start remaking some of the newer games by today's standard. They would start remaking Black Ops 3 eventually, several years down the line. So every single year, we end up getting 2 Call of Duty games, one new one and one remastered. And it's a perfect system. It's flawless. Look at the math. It just makes the most sense, right? So I predicted that a long time ago. I hope it actually comes to fruition. But if not, at least we'll get a Call of Duty 4 remastered. And that's going to be pretty awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Drop me a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.